Recently, the Los Angeles city attorney did an in-studio interview with a local news channel and expressed some opinions concerning the types of cases that I handle on behalf of first responders. And I have my own thoughts and opinions on some of the things she said. So here we go.
What is the biggest problem going forward?
For my office, I am very focused on claims, liabilities, and ways to mitigate the risk.
Okay, let's stop there. Of course, every lawyer that represents a client that gets sued is focused on mitigating risk. One of the critical ways trial lawyers that try cases, mitigate risk is by settling cases that should be settled rather than forcing them to a jury. And I say this because in a minute or so, there are going to be opinions talking about juries essentially running amok. Let's keep going.
I've been asked to do that by City Council and by the mayor.
The risk from the LAPD and any other agency.
Everyone focuses on the LAPD. At the end of the day, our city has many risks. And every time we pay out a multi-million-dollar settlement or a multi-million-dollar verdict, potholes don't get fixed.
Now, I believe this is completely wrong-headed thinking. When potholes don't get fixed, that's not a problem of today. That's a problem of the last 10 or 15 years of poor budgetary planning. Potholes don't appear overnight. It takes time. It takes weeks, months, and years, okay? So when you hear what I believe is a false comparison, a false narrative, because jury verdicts are paid today for people who are righteously injured and go before a jury, and to say that that's why potholes aren't getting filled, well, no, that's not why. And in fact, if you look at their webpage, the city's webpage, and it talks about what lawsuits and settlements are paid out, it's over $140 million for premises liability. That's when things that they don't maintain, like lampposts, fall down and hit people and put them in comas, or people trip and fall, things of that nature. $140 million. That's poor planning by a city council over decades.
Every time we take taxpayer dollars because someone basically has anxiety or depression from an employment case.
I take issue with that because that's a shot at my clients. I represent first responders, police officers, and firefighters who have been greatly damaged. I've been doing this for 25 years. Every case I have tried has a verdict in the millions, sometimes in the tens of millions. But here's the kicker. I tried to settle every one of those cases, 100%, for a fraction of what the jury awarded. So now, when you put this all together, who's doing the risk management? And it's not just this city attorney. I've been doing this since the late 90s and the early 2000s. This is my 5th city attorney and my 6th chief of police. So are they going to say it's just always the jury that's been wrong all this time? Again, I have well over a dozen verdicts, and every one of them I offered to settle for a number that was a fraction of what the jury awarded. Let's continue.
We make someone a multimillionaire.
Well, we make someone a multimillionaire. That is a fallacy. Who's the we in that sentence? She didn't sit on the jury. Her lawyers didn't sit on the jury. You see, this is our system. The 7th Amendment of the United States Constitution guarantees everybody a jury trial, okay? That's number one. Number two, when you go to trial and you have weeks of evidence, at the end of it, the judge instructs the jury on the law. Now, what the judge instructs the jury on is agreed upon by lawyers from her office and people like me. And then the jury is instructed, and then they award compensation. So to say we make people millionaires is a misnomer. And number two, the jury is compensating people to put them in the best position possible to make them whole. That's what the law requires.
But we deprive ourselves of the dollars to clean up our streets, to build housing, to do the things that we need to do as a city to bring services.
So I don't disagree that their poor risk management has caused money to not go in certain places, but that's their risk management. If this were some private company, think of a big private company, Ralph's, Google, anything, and after 25 years of this type of risk management, which I believe is awful, and I essentially beg these people to settle cases, and they tell me, no, I'm trying to settle cases right now, but they are going to force me to go to trial another 3 or 4 times next year. And then they're going to complain that the jury verdicts are too big. Why didn't you settle the case? I'm not an unknown quantity. I've been doing this for 25 years, as are some of my competitors. Greg Smith, for example, he has the same track record. I just don't get it.
Has happened in the courtroom is because they can't award punitive damages, we suddenly get $10 million in anxiety, depression, or I worked under a supervisor who I didn't like for 18 months.
That is a completely pejorative comment and, in my opinion, wrong. The jury is instructed on the law. Government entities cannot pay punitive damages. They are instructed on that. I argue that. I specifically say do not award these damages. What the jury is awarding are compensatory damages. And you know what? I do my risk management. You know what that means? That if a case needs to be settled, I settle it. I don't let 12 people I don't know decide. But I talk to hundreds and hundreds of first responders every month up and down the state. And I pick my cases very carefully. So when I have a case, I believe it's a winner. But that doesn't stop me from trying to settle cases. I try and settle cases because I am engaging in risk management for my clients. It's a risk for them. There are no punitive damages. The jury is instructed on the instructions that the defense and the plaintiff agree on, and they award compensatory damages. So here's my closing thought. If you're the board of directors of a company, the city council, and you're the CEO of a company, the mayor, and you keep paying out significant jury verdicts, settlements on the verdict, wouldn't you ask your lawyer this question? Lawyer, how much was the plaintiff willing to settle for? And why did you say no? That is the question that needs to be asked and answered.